The following is an Instagram Live that was recorded previously on Thursday, August 21st, 2025, from Mariela Cruz's Instagram account with Brice Watson, myself from Esoteric Atlanta, and Todd Roderick from The Confused Wanderer. In this episode, we are talking about the most recent Ashtanga scandal that happened in February of 2025. Please make sure, if you would, to go down in the description box below to follow all the participants over on their platforms.
Om Gura Venama. Welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. My colleagues Todd and Brice, we are very happy to be here with you today, and we're taking this space very seriously, and we want to honor our gurus and offer everything we say here to their legacy and what they taught us. So thank you for being here. Hi Todd, nice you guys are here. Welcome. Nuevo. Gracias por estar aquí, gracias por acompañarnos. Thank you everybody. Hi.
Hey.
Good to see you again. It's like jumping into the abyss, isn't it, these lives?
Yeah. So Brice should be on here in a second.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
Yes, I'm doing well.
You doing good? Yeah.
Lots of energy, isn't it? Like,
yeah. It feels like it's been building over the last month or so. Yeah.
It is, and today I was checking the astrology, and of course this Thursday is the day of the Guru. Yeah. But also today the moon is transiting a very special constellation that is called Pushya. Yeah. And Pushya Nakshatra is the constellation of the Gurus. It's the constellation of the nurturing of the students.
Yeah. Well, perfect time to be doing this live and talking about this.
Exactly. Yeah. It was just, I told you, there's no coincidence. Everything is like a script. We're just following the script.
Exactly. There's been so many synchronicities in all of this. It's wild.
Isn't it crazy? Yeah. I just finished a tiny live I did in Spanish because I know many of the practitioners in Hispanic America, they would love to understand what we're saying, but they can't yet. I hope in the future they will. But that's why I did a little compilation of what we're gonna speak and why we're doing this and why we are moved by the love and the transformation that we experience firsthand in India, and how we want that for everybody. So.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I was. I had some thoughts. Because I've been trying to figure out, how we, as a community, have come to this point where it hasn't been. For some, it's not coming natural to respect the lineage and the family, and so in my questioning of why that we could be in this place, I was thinking about when I first started to travel to Mysore back in the 90s, and how at that time Mysore was very unforgiving for the Westerners. There was no Western influence. There were no Western shops, no Western food. They didn't even have any idea of how really to cater to us. And so you were forced into fully embracing either that or running away from India, because I saw plenty of people have the intentions of staying for months, and 2 weeks they just couldn't handle it, because India in that way, their culture was very unforgiving. Like, it wasn't going to budge for you. Yeah. And for some, it was very frustrating. And so, you were forced to pay close attention, whether it be, how to present yourself in public, what to wear and what you can't wear, how to eat properly with your hands. Yeah. Little things like that, that all together you know, was a huge culture shock, and really calls for your full attention. Because for me, I didn't want to disrespect the locals, you know, and I didn't want to stand out like a sore thumb, even though I naturally did. And so I think, you know, within that unwesternized environment, it forced us into, like I said, paying attention, respecting the culture, learning the culture. A lot of conversations I had with Sharat, because at the time, you know, he wasn't my teacher. He was more of a practice. He was more of like a student, just like us, you know, because he practiced with us, you know, especially the early morning group, which I was in. And you know, we never really talked about yoga. I would talk to him a lot about just the culture, things that I noticed that maybe they even sort of took for granted, you know, and he was fascinated with my fascination and my curiosity, you know, and so I wanted to learn the correct protocols when you were in different situations, and so I think that within me grew a natural respect and love for the culture, and that I would never want to do anything to you know, to offend them, or, you know, to push my Western views onto theirs, because it was a beautiful thing. I loved India. I loved the culture. I loved the people. And even though it was very foreign for me, you know, over time, spending a lot of time there, you know, I sort of settled into that and understood the culture and the tradition and the lineage on a deeper level, and that had always been in me. Now these days, you know, Mysore has opened up in a way where there's so much Western influence, and they've learned to cater to us, and it's become really easy as a Westerner just to be there, and you find that everyone wants to cater to you. Yeah, because there's the tourism, and they realize that there's money in that, and the more comfortable they make us feel, and the more welcome they make us feel, the more likely it is we're going to stay there and enjoy ourselves, and to continue coming and bringing money to them, which it's not a bad thing. But I think the difficulty here is when it's too westernized, we feel too comfortable, and we feel too taken care of, and we forget that we're in someone else's country with someone else's culture, and that it's important, and nowadays it's almost like you have to dig for it a little bit more, you know, when before it was so in your face, you know, and I think that is, you know, since I've been contemplating this and questioning this is sort of a piece. I think this is an important piece of it, you know, and yeah. So
yeah, I totally hear you. Hi, Brice. Welcome. I'm so happy to see you.
Let us know if we're in two different rooms. So if you guys hear any weird playback, let me know. I can exit and just go sit beside him if that's easier.
No, I love it like this, because the way the screen is in 3. Yeah, Todd, what you're saying, you know, in my experience, you know, since I'm married to an Indian citizen,
yeah,
I always feel, you know, like walking on sometimes of eggshells, because as Westerners, they have this subtle way of perceiving life. There's so much in this beauty of devotion and the bhakti, and you know, it's something that is like the smell in India. It's very subtle and very important. Yeah. And sometimes we're very sloppy. That's how I feel sometimes. We're sloppy. Yeah. And we just try to move in a rhythm, in a culture that has a completely different pace, you know, and a completely new way that it's very refreshing for us as Westerners once we slow down.
Right.
But with all this social media, like what you're saying, you know, people are scrolling constantly. There's so much DHD, you know, the deficit disorders, like everything is going so fast. That's completely against what we have experienced in India.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. God, back in the day, the early days, Mysore moved like molasses. It was so slow. And, you know, it took me a while to really drop down into that. And when I did, I understood why Mysore was the hub for yoga like it was, you know, because it really calls for you to slow down into just a slower pace, and to accept things are going to take longer, and this, once you relax into it and surrender, it's actually really nice, and I really miss, that's the one thing I miss about being in India, especially in Mysore, how beautiful it was for one, and two, just how slow everything moves, yeah.
So it's hard because now we are remembering something that actually I don't know if it's there yet. I mean, I think it's inside of us, because it's just the change of environment. I feel it when I go back. Like now I'm missing India very much. There's a part of me that is used to being there, at a certain time. Now Diwali is coming and we're not going to be traveling. Yeah, it's just like, and that rhythm, that pace, that is so against our Western pace. It's like many people are saying, okay, now what is going to happen? Sharaji is not there anymore. What is going to happen? Like, give me an answer right away, and we cannot wait. We have to rush and make it happen our way because we cannot stand to be just in the unknown and the uncertainty. There's like a compulsion. That's how I feel.
Right. Yeah. And it's good that you brought that up, because they're part of their tradition, and it's a part of other traditions as well, is to wait to make any big decisions after someone has passed away and to give them time. And I've been thinking about that as well. And I'm sure, there are a lot of reasons for that. One is, time to grieve. You don't want to make big decisions in the process of grief, because usually those are going to be the wrong decisions. Yeah. And I think another reason for giving it some time is, if you believe in ghosts, you don't want to make such huge changes that the person's spirit that left their body doesn't want to leave because it sees stuff happening, that they left behind that they don't approve with. And so it's good to take that pause, let their spirit move to wherever it's going to be moving and get settled, and then go about making those changes, and then it's about, respecting that person, taking a pause, thinking about that person, grieving that person, and that's that's a respectful pause. And in that time, it's okay to question. It's okay to go through whatever gamut of feelings that you're having because of the loss of that person. But to make any decisions, especially hasty decisions, is disrespectful in many different ways. And especially in this situation.
So what would you say to those people, Brice, maybe you want to answer this one, that are saying that we are being disrespectful just by bringing this up?
I would push back and say, actually, I think, and Todd is right, in Indian culture, they wait a year they have certain ceremonies they do. And so I don't know if the people who came in and tried to change everything, if they're aware of that and they took advantage of the situation, or they're not aware of that and they thought just because Saraswati and Manju perhaps are being silent that it was okay. But I want to remind the Westerners that this used to be a part of our culture too. Todd and I were talking about this the other day. Victorian times, when your spouse passed away, the widow wore black for a year. Like, we've just recently lost that in the Western world. And the thing about it is, I love the saying, two things can be true. Two things can be true here. The Western world is amazing. I love being a Westerner. I love our heritage. I love what we've contributed. But the Eastern world is also equally amazing. And we can share that culture with each other. But for us to come in and take over like we know what we're doing when this isn't our culture. And this is deeply found, even though, Todd has said it before, that yoga kind of transcends religion, like yoga really transcends all religions. But in a cultural sense, it is a part of the Hindu faith. And that's not something that us as blonde-haired, blue-eyed Westerners are really going to ever be super familiar with, because that's not how we were raised. And so we have to have that sense of self and that sense of security. When Sharat passed away, it was a shock, right? We weren't expecting it. It was a shock. And when I saw this happen, when we started seeing things in February, I felt like I was gobsmacked. Like, it makes me want to cry. I was like, did you guys ever really love this man? did you ever really respect this man? Because immediately when it happened, my immediate thought was not, oh, who's going to be signing authorizations now? That didn't even cross my mind. I think because we knew common sense that it was Saraswati and Manju anyway, but my thought was, oh my God, I hope his family's okay. Oh my God, I need to reach out to Sharmila. Oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? Like, my grief for the family over us, he's got 2 young children. Oh my gosh. And to see people like, in my head, it's just vultures just coming in on a carcass to take what they can. And I don't understand, because as an authorized teacher here in the Western world, I am so grateful. David Grieg used to say, for those of us in the West to actually find Ashtanga, it's like we won the golden lottery ticket. And I feel so grateful to not only have had this practice, but to have been able to go to India, to be able to get to know the family, to sit up in the apartment above the main shala and have chai with Saraswati, to have that experience. I am so unbelievably grateful for that and what Ashtanga has done for my life. And I'm so proud to be able to help teach it to people here. And we always tell people, if you want to teach, if that's something you want to do, you're going to need to go to India. Like, we can't give that to you because it's not ours to give away.
Yeah, I just said that in the Spanish live,
Oh, really?
We go to the West with such humility because we know we're not it. I used to say to my students, I am an arrow pointing to my teacher. That's what I used to tell them all the time, because I knew I was so limited. I mean, I felt so much passion for the practice and so much love, but I knew I was not it, that they had to go to Mysore. And many of them listened to me and went and met him, and even some of them got authorized to. And I'm so happy they had that opportunity. But like you say, it's like, we are not it. We are not the successors. We cannot be. We are humble custodians of the legacy in the West, in our modest way. Because, I was chatting with one of my Indian friends yesterday, and we don't know Sanskrit. We don't know how to really chant like the proper way. We are learning, all the time. And like your teacher would say, David, we won the lotto. But we cannot say, okay, I won the lotto, so now that he's gone, now this is me, and I'm going to certify you, and I'm going to authorize you in Miami, and in Toronto, and in Madrid, and in Rome, because he's not here to tell me otherwise.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just the whole Yoga Alliance thing, because somebody was saying, like, how, I saw him paraphrasing, like, how do we know he wouldn't want us to do that? And I was like, I sat in multiple conferences with Sharat where he went off on the Yoga Alliance, how he talked about the Yoga Alliance, came into India, stole yoga, said, we don't need you anymore, India. Now we're going to run these teacher trainings. I'm sorry, but as an authorized teacher, I signed that I would never be involved in teacher trainings, and I understand why.
Of course.
And I will never do that. And so if Sharat was that passionate about us, the fact that we could lose our authorizations if we got involved with these teacher trainings, tells me all I need to know about this situation right now.
Exactly, but it makes sense. We cannot teach the parampara. We are custodians. We are the holders. And telling the people, okay, this is happening in India. You go there. You prepare. I can prepare you a little bit, but you have to go there. And you have to experience the magic. Like Sharaji used to say, you have to taste the honey. The honey.
Right. Yeah, and some people, are arguing that, well, Shruti is part of the family, but not recognizing the preparatory and initiation work that has to be done to make it to a level of practice experience, genuine practice experience under the Param Guru, to an extent that goes much further than us Westerners have ever experienced. And I saw this firsthand with Sharat. You thought Pattabhi Jois was hard on us. You should have seen how hard he was on Sharat.
He broke him.
That was years and years and years of preparation for him to take that role. This isn't casual. This wasn't casual practice with his grandfather. This wasn't casual assisting with his grandfather. This is someone who started at the age of 14 and practiced 6 days a week without fail, year after year after year, and then assisting with his grandfather year after year after year. Yeah. And this is after his grandfather went through the same thing with Krishnamacharya. Krishnamacharya went through even more than Pattabhi Jois. Yeah. And so to just casually say, oh, well, Shruti was Sharat's wife and she assisted some in the Shala, that's inconsequential here. We're talking about a deep level of experience that a Param Guru has to have, and it should not be taken lightly. That's what made this practice as popular as it is, was that kind of integrity. And there's very few practices in the world that has that kind of integrity. Yeah. So you just can't flippantly say, oh, well, she's a Joyce. Oh, she assisted a little bit. It takes so much practice, so much watching students practice, so much teaching to get to the level where you have that kind of discernment of who really deserves to get certified, who really deserves to get authorized. Yeah, that can't be understated. Yeah, without that discernment, without that initiation, it's just not. It doesn't have the potency that it should have. You know,
Dangerous. It becomes dangerous.
yeah.
This dangerous. This Ashtanga. My friend Cindy at Sacred Garden Yoga, I've taught for her for like 10 years now. She talks about Ashtanga as being like the super one. Like it's walking that fine line, right? Like even the opening chant talks about taking the poison, right? And poison can either help you or can go overboard. And so there's danger in this practice in the sense that the teacher, you know, when we're looking at the now in all of these teachers, these Westerners. Did I go out? Okay, all these
A little bit, yeah. You're fine.
I need to.
You're back.
All these Westerners coming in. This is dangerous in the sense that this practice, these postures, if we just take the spirituality out of it, which we really can't, but let's just put it to the side for a moment. These postures are dangerous. I've been severely injured. Mariela's been severely injured. I know, Todd, you've been injured. A teacher like Sharat watched us practice. He got to know us. Our home teachers watch us, get to know us. We don't teach or hop. And this is safety so that he understands where we need to go, what support we need in the practice. What the support that I need in the practice is not the same support that Mariela needs or Todd needs because we have different karma. And so when I watch Sharat, my vata gets so out of, my anxiety gets really bad. And I never talked to Sharat about my anxiety issues, ever. But when I was in the Mysore room with him, when he would speak to me in the room, he would get really quiet with me. That makes me emotional. He would get really, really quiet and soft-spoken with me. He never would force things. He would always say, let's try this. But then I would watch him scream at someone else. So he knew that my anxiety would be triggered if he yelled, and that the way to help me was, and that takes observing somebody. If you're flipping teachers in and out, then that's not going to happen, and there's going to be danger in this. And the thing is, like, if Shruti is able to be a Param Guru, then why isn't she teaching all of the Mysore classes when the shot? Why isn't she doing what Sharat did? You know?
No, and the transformation is not only physical. You know, when you have been through the fire of those series, it's like Todd is saying, it's mental, it's refining your discernment, it's making you more present to evaluate the circumstances around you so you can make the best decision, the best possible decisions for the majority. Not for a single group, you know, not for this.
Yeah, and without that, you know, that prior deep practice and experience watching many people practice and putting your hands on their body and adjusting and understanding the difference between bodies and you know, and everything that goes with that, you know, that informs the teacher on when it's appropriate to give a new posture. You know, when it's the perfect time to do that. And that takes such a long time to truly understand. Yeah. And it comes with watching people, working with hundreds of people.
Thousands,
Thousands, right? Yeah, thousands. Yeah, exactly. Thousands of people, and working with the same people for many years, 5, 10, sometimes 20 years, and understand the ebb and flow of the practice and how some things may, there's so much to it. It's too hard to sum it up because there is so much to it. And
Todd, and a question they're doing, which is very interesting, and I don't know the answer myself, but they're asking why Saraswati was not the head of the lineage when her father died.
I think she is. I think they all.
I think that she always was. To tell you the truth, I think that Shrat being much younger, and him being prepped for the position, it just made sense that she handed that over to him for the time being. Yeah, and maybe she passed away before him. Maybe she outlived him, like is what happened. But I don't think that she stepped down from that place.
She can authorizing people and certifying people, and so I think they've been like it's been like a co-param guruship. And we're talking last night. Let's be realistic. Saraswati and Manju have more experience than even Sharath, right?
Yeah,
they're old by virtue of being older.
Yeah,
so
and
who says that param guru?
Yeah, and that doesn't make Sharath any less.
No.
But it makes sense that Sharath went through all that he went through with Patabi Joyce, and even if officially the Param Guruship was given to Saraswati, it also Sharath can also be acknowledged as that, and that's personal stuff in the background, but that's what I suspect, and so really for us to even question whether or not it's her, is tricky, because I think there should just be sort of an assumption there, and in us as Westerners here, I think we should always, out of respect, defer to them, not make any assumptions and defer to them, and just be patient and know in time they're going to make whatever statements need to be made, and not jump to any conclusions and not get too worked up about it. And we would not be, the respectful people would not be getting worked up about it if it wasn't for someone like Shruti and the Westerners jumping the gun and doing what they did.
We don't like being here. That's what I have to tell you. We don't like this.
Right.
This is a year of mourning. We are in pain. We are experiencing the loss. Some people say that we are trying to divert the attention from what is really happening, speaking and everything. And I don't think so. I don't think so. Wait a second.
No.
The lights.
Yeah. I mean, why? This is we can't when they're making moves like they have. We can't just sit back and be quiet. We need to address this before it goes too far, And people have said, "Oh, stop bullying," a grieving widow or whatever. She's not grieving if she was grieving.
But that's a different thing. I think there's like Brice was saying, it's like a big salad that they're making,
Right.
We all support her. We all feel for her. I was there in February. I went there to support her and the children because, I can understand the emptiness and the pain and the loss. But what surprised me is in that deep state of loss that so many things were going completely awry, completely in a direction that was unexpected and very bad taste according to the Indian tradition. There was something happening there that was moving against this current, this knowledge, this vidya. It was against the knowledge what happened there. And so people may say, "Oh, you're envious because you didn't get it." If they had offered it to me, I would have felt so angry. And I would completely, in the moment, I would have spoken like I am doing now, because that would have been a great offense to my guru. Like,
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about disrespect, that's the deepest disrespect I could imagine. You know, I would have never have guessed, you know, that this would have gone down the way that it did, and that it was so overt, that it wasn't, not just that it happened, but that the people who got accepted these certifications and authorizations, you know, showed them proudly. You know, and created a whole story around it, which in and of itself is a lie. You know, and so the disrespect goes so deep. And
it had only been a few months after he passed. Like, I can't, because, you know, Todd and Sharat are the same age. Todd was telling me, I wish he would tell more stories. Todd's he's a very private person. I'm proud of you for actually being public, because you're a very private person.
yeah,
But, you know, pillow talk, Todd tells me more stories, especially about the olden days. And the love that, because I know you told me that they called you and Sharat the boys club, because you two were the young ones, that you were the same age, and everybody else is in their 30s and their 40s. When you met Sharat had never even seen the ocean before, and you were a military kid who grew up all over the world. So Sharat, at that point, Sharat had never seen the ocean, because he had been. I want the Westerners to think about that, because as Westerners, we travel a lot, we go on vacations. This boy, he was a boy at this point, had been working so hard that by 22 he had never even seen the ocean, because his life was yoga. His life
was yoga.
When Manju left, I think, you know, I say from my perspective, when Manju moved to California, it fell on Sharat's shoulders as his duty for his family to do this, and that has to be respected. And, you know, if Todd were to drop like Sharat did, if he were to have a heart attack, I don't know, after 2 months, I don't know if I would be okay to even function. So the fact that it was just a few months after the fact, to me, it's gobsmacking. And I want to remind people, you know, I said this in one of my videos, yes, this is a family business for them, but like my family, like my mom's family, who are doctors, in order to be a part of the family business, you have to go through training. When my grandfather passed away young, he was 56 when he passed away very young, he was a head of surgery. My grandmother was like Shruti, she was a housewife. What would have happened if after my grandfather passed away, she had picked up the scalpel and walked into the clinic and said, okay, I'm here to be head.
That's dangerous, Brice. So basically what we're saying, and this is with my Indian friends, we're saying that those certificates, authorizations, and certifications, they don't have any weight. They don't have credibility. They don't have value. And if you are listening, please, we cannot convince you. We are just giving you information for your own life, for your own decisions. That's our mission, basically. Because we cannot make that horse drink. Okay, these people are not going to give back what they got in their maneuvering. They would have already. You understand?
Right.
I thought a couple of them had the heart to say, this is hurting the community, but now I understand that they won't do it. And Sharat Yoga Center is not going to revoke them either. And so our mission is basically to explain you, to give you information so you make an intelligent decision for your life, because if you really want the transformation, if you really want that transmission of energy, the teacher that is giving you the teachers is not the asana, it's what they are giving you energetically. Right. And if someone is there and they are, putting themselves as something that they don't deserve, and that is so wrong, then you're going to get a twisted energy. You're going to get, like, yoga can, like Brice said, it can be dangerous. If you practice in a shala that has no shakti, that has no integrity, that is like confused and everything, right. What is going to happen is what happened to me, because I was there, I got injured. In my years with Sharaji, he used to adjust me so deeply, I never got injured. He had a grace.
Yeah.
And right here, this person just completely destroyed my back. It's like,
Yeah, and and for them to, there's a saying says the fish stinks from the head down, and so if something has started without integrity, where is it going to go from there?
oh,
Yeah,
like I told you, 2 certifications in Miami now. Oh my
right?
goodness.
Yeah, yeah,
That's where
and
it's going. That's where
and
it's
so
headed.
and you were saying that and I believe this, that most likely none of them are going to give their fake certifications or authorizations back, and so then the question is, what is it that we can do? When I say we, all the people that are basically on the same page with us, that can
We
clearly
can
see,
go
and it's really,
practice.
and it's
We can go practice with the Indian teachers. That's what we can do.
exactly right. Yeah, and so
my preference, our preference is Saraswati, but I'm not only saying they're very good Indian teachers in Mysore, and in many parts of India, we have to go to the Indian teachers.
right, and so the people that support are this point of view. It's not our point of view necessarily. It's like the logical,
Common
ethical
sense.
point of
A,
point of
B,
view.
C,
Those
A, B,
those
C,
people,
1, 2, 3.
those people that also
A can
see
do it.
what we
3
see. The
is
people,
like,
right? Yeah, still the people that see what we see, which it doesn't take much to see it clearly. They can recommend their students, other friends, to go practice, go study with the Indian, if they want to go to Mysore, study with Saraswati or some of the other Indians that have shalas. I know there's great teachers there. Yeah. Even back when Patabi Joyce was teaching, there were some Indian teachers that were there, had little shalas, and so, not deciding that you're not going to go back to Sharat Yoga Center to practice, and eventually I think that things will just sort of dry up, and
but please
that'll
don't
be that.
stop going to India. If you want to go to India, I had
Right.
several of my
Yeah. Oh,
students
yeah.
that they were about to go and they changed gears. They're going to India. We love India. We love Mysore.
Yeah. Oh, I
Not
can't wait to
only
go
the
back.
shala, but everything. The people. We have friends from many years. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a transformational experience to go to India, and Mysore is very safe. It's a very catered experience for a first-time Westerner in India.
Yeah.
Please go to India. Please don't stop going to India. Just choose wisely. And I think we're not going to keep saying anything else about these people because I don't even know if they're listening. Todd and Brice.
Right.
I don't think they even care. And many other colleagues, they're silent and they're like, okay, I'm doing my practice and love. That's, for us, love is doing the right thing. Some people experiment love in different ways. Some people is like, I'm going to do my pranayama and that's enough. And for us, there's more to do.
I mean, inaction is inaction is action. Yeah. Choosing not to do anything is an action, and it's a choice.
Is supporting that exactly.
And it speaks loudly. Yeah. Saying, I don't want to be a part of the drama. The drama didn't start with us. What we're doing here is not necessarily drama. Yeah.
It's Arjuna standing on the battlefield, looking across the field, seeing his colleagues and his friends and his teachers he's loved, and he's in a battle. And the favorite part of the Bhagavad Gita for me, when I first started studying it years ago, which was revolutionary, because we think of spirituality as being peace and love and all that kind of stuff. But in a nutshell, when Arjuna is having this like mental crash out because he doesn't want to go to war, Krishna is like, tough shit, basically. Like, buckle up, Buttercup. You're a warrior.
Stop complaining and fight. Exactly. That's what he's saying. Go fight.
Right. Yeah.
And stop crying and stop and so I think there's a lot of spiritual bypassing in our community. That's what I'm realizing.
Absolutely. I mean, it's worth fighting for truth.
Of course.
It's worth fighting for integrity.
And for love. We love our teachers. Right. We don't want this knowledge to be diluted. We don't want you to get an experience of the practice that is not the real, the cool, the transformational, the intense. And some people say, okay, no, Saraswati is too old. You know, like, what? She's a powerhouse. She has all this knowledge. She has all this beauty. She's like, I can't wait to go back to her and to the original Shala where I started.
When I first started practicing with Patabi Joyce, he was 80 years old. You would have never guessed the man was a day over 50.
Amazing.
Like,
yeah. I just saw a video and he was like,
adjusting everyone, you know, getting after people, brain sharper than, I mean, such a sharp brain. Like, and to say 83, like, that's not a big deal. Like, you know, really, especially with the Joyce family, they're so hardy.
Amazing.
Saraswati is just as hardy as her father. That Pitta Kappa, you know, like that's some serious energy there. So to think that 83 is that old, that she doesn't have many good years left.
108.
Right. Yeah. So
younger than I am at 42, let's be honest. But it would be an honor to practice with Saraswati. She is sharp. She's a woman of very few words, but when she speaks, it's powerful. And I'm going to remind people, like, this woman was born into yoga. She was born into this. Both of her parents were Krishnamacharya students. Manju was born into this. We don't have that as Westerners. You know, and that's the thing, too, that I'll use this example. I think it was my first trip. I did a tour of, is it the St. Philomena Church in the middle of my
Yes.
And we did a tour of it, and we got to the back room, and we started dying laughing. Not out of disrespect, you guys. There's a point to this. Hindu temples have a certain je ne sais quoi about them. They have a certain way they're set up. Well, the back room at this St. Philomena Christian church was set up like a Hindu temple, but it was a Christian church. And this is the point I'm making. We're always going to infuse our culture into something. And so whether we intend to or not as Westerners, so using that as an example, which is totally fine. Listen, it was a beautiful church. But in the Western world, if you were to come to Ashtanga Yoga Atlanta or Shala, yes, we honor India. But I'm sure if a person straight out of Mysore were to walk into our Shala, I'm sure there are things Todd and I do that they would giggle about. Because we don't even realize we're doing them because we're Westerners. And that's okay.
Exactly. And please, our Indian friends, excuse us. We have a passion for the practice, but I know we're making a lot of mistakes when we teach. I know that, you know, because now that I have been immersed in the Indian culture, oh my goodness, you know, like, and yet we're willing to learn. We are perpetual students. We are not saying we know everything and now we can authorize and certify. We would never say that. That would be so disrespectful and so ungrateful to what we have learned in India.
That's not our place. We know that. We know that's not our place. We love India. We love the town of Mysore. Please go if you want to go study with Saraswati.
Please go to Mysore. Mysore is magical. It's beautiful. And Saraswati has...
She's gorgeous. Like, that woman is probably one of the most genetically beautiful human beings. I mean, she's gorgeous. And her energy is infectious. Her daughter, Sharmila, I love Sharmila is the funniest. She is so social. I love her. And so you will have a wonderful time. You'll be in great care. There has to be intimacy and great care in this practice. And I know Sharat was not, you know, from my perspective with Sharat, one thing he said in a conference once that I've always remembered. He said, if you want to impress me, be a kind person.
Be a good person. Yeah, be a good person.
Asana was just a tool for him. That's all it was. He understood asana was important, but he didn't value the students' worth just based off of their performance on their yoga mat.
No, and he really was very keen on some of us because he needed to break our backs, you know, so we would like start listening because we were so much in the mind. So the series come and they are like this, you know, wow, this storm that start washing away all the poisons, you know, the greed, you know, the ego, the laziness, everything starts like washing. And once you understand that's what practice is for, so then you can go and live your life in integrity.
Yeah.
So then you can be kind to people. So then, you know, we're thinking of the future for generations. We don't want you to get a diluted version of what we received. Right. And you may go and you may get authorized. Oh, yeah, I got authorized by the Sharat Yoga Center. Who signed that certificate? I'm asking you to be more precise, to go deeper, to don't like just the post. And I knew of some authorized teachers now in the last season that they were so ashamed of that authorization that they did not even show it. They did not even post in their Instagram that they got authorized. Because they told me, it was a very unfortunate situation. They offered me this and I didn't want to offend them. But at the same time, it was very weird for me to receive this in a moment of grief.
And
so I'm asking.
I was going to say for this to happen in this practice, it was always taught to us no skipping.
Yeah.
No skipping. That's like at the core of this practice. You grasp the challenge as best you can, and no skipping. Yeah, you breathe through it, regardless of how uncomfortable it is. Regardless of how much you want that, or don't want that. Yeah, depending on what pose it is, but no skipping.
No skipping. Absolutely.
And
not only in the practice, in life, you cannot grab and get something that it doesn't belong to you. That's basic third yama asteya. You don't grab anything that is not given freely to you. That's basic ethics in life.
And so if we have a new foundation being formed by someone who's skipping, and other people that are supporting that, where is this going to go? The reason why I loved Ashtanga is because of how badass it was, how hard it was. That it felt like sometimes it was survival of the fittest. Like if you couldn't show up and you do the best you can, regardless of how much fear. Can't tell you how many times I was so sore that I sometimes had a hard time walking down my steps and across the alleyway to go into practice because I had been through the ringer for months.
No, I'm scared. So scared to go to practice. I used to pray, I remember, and say, okay, I'm going to die today. I'm going to die.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's fine.
Yes.
I'm going to die in the hands of my
And some
Guru.
people,
Let's do this.
You just find yourself in there and you're like, I can't believe I'm on my mat right now. I can barely fold forward, but you just do it and no skipping. You do the whole thing.
You have to tell Mariela and our people watching the story of the only time Sharat, whatever really adjusted you when you were younger, the first time you caught.
No, he adjusted me and it was funny because
this is first time catching. Well, tell from, I know I have people who are from my channel following me. Catching, quickly. What is catching? When we say catching, what does that mean?
You're doing a back bend, and you have to catch your ankles. And it
looks like you're possessed by a demon, and it's being exorcised.
Right, yeah. I was telling Brice a story the other day, so I'll tell it from the beginning. So for some time, Punjabi Joyce would. They don't have this adjustment anymore, but in assisted back bends, you would cross your arms and you go to do the 3 back and forth, the half backs, and then you would get set on your head. They would put you down on your head. You may have practiced during the time that it was still in the assisted back bend.
Yeah, and they would touch you in the head and you were like, ah!
Yeah, well, Punjabi Joyce would let me go like an inch from the floor.
Yes.
And my head would thump. And if I put my arms down, he would yell at me, why fearing? And so Punjabi Joyce would notice that I would get Sharat's eye to come over and help me in back bends so I wouldn't get dropped on my head. And Punjabi Joyce had it sort of figured out that I would time it so Sharat would help me. And once he got it figured out, he told Sharat in Canada, I picked it up. He was like, "You make him catch today."
First time.
It was first time I had ever been wound in, and Sharat put his hands on my waist and reached out and grabbed a hold of my wrist. And as soon as he grabbed a hold of my wrist, out of the primal depths of my being, I just go, "No!" And he just knelt down and whispered in my ear. He said, "Yes." and he wound me in, and then I came up and I looked at Guruji and he said, "Much bending." Anyway, he just laughed. It was funny. The whole situation
No,
and how I
it
just
was
screamed out.
the ultimate letting go. It was a great training for abnegation, for fear. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think
Yeah,
that's what this practice is about. It trains you for fear, so you can use fear in a constructive way.
right.
And that's what we're doing here. It's not because we want to do this. It's because it's our duty to do
It's the
this.
right thing to do. It's our sadhana.
Yeah, it's our sadhana.
It's our responsibility.
So we
If
respect
we're
your sadhana, please respect our sadhana. This is our sadhana. Don't say that we're doing wrong, that we are abusing the wife, that we are not. We are just saying we wouldn't want to be here. That should have not happened. That should have not happened. And please don't keep it going. It's like Rai was saying, it's like playing pretend. I'm pretending that I am certified, so the whole world, and I'm smiling, and my husband is certified, and my partner in the studio is authorized, and I'm pretending, and we are there, and we're saying, that's not how it goes. It's like,
right.
no pretending
Yeah.
here, because there's a living Gurudeva in Mysore, and there's Manju in the US, and that's the right, at least for ourselves. And maybe you want to think about it. Maybe you want to say, okay, now I'm going to go where the whole mass goes. Okay, go ahead, But when someone has warned you and told you, there's an abyss there, be careful. And you still go, that's your karma.
And yes, it was Shruti. I think I've been very respectful. I feel like I've said multiple videos, I feel like she's been exploited. Like, I have empathy for her. I can't imagine what that must have been like to lose your spouse, have 2 young children, and have this big thing that your husband was doing. I have a lot of...
We want to think she was maneuvered. That would be mine. I want to think she was maneuvered. I don't want to think she was part of this, really, because it just doesn't match with how I perceived her as a loving wife. But only God knows this. And I think we have, done what we needed to do. From now on, you're on your own, basically. We're not going to keep repeating ourselves. We are, we have been doing this for...
I feel like at this point we've got the word out. People are starting to talk about it.
Yes,
We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on the ones that are trying to fight back against this. Make zero sense. You have no leg to stand on, and it's obvious because, for one, you're remaining quiet and coming up with excuses of, I'm just do your practice or drama or whatever, and that's fine. But if you had a leg to stand on, we could talk about your side of the story and your argument to support this. But it's all been word salad, and it's all been dancing around the issue. And it's funny that everyone that has reached out or left comments that are trying to push back against what we're saying, they never mention Saraswati, and if she is mentioned, it's just basically like, she's too old. Like, we should respect our elders here.
Yeah.
And like I said, don't forget, when Patabi Joyce, when I first started studying with him in the 90s, was 80 years old, and you would never have known it. So age does not matter here. And if it does matter, you should respect your elders.
Absolutely.
Especially an elder in this family. So we've got a lot of support in the background, and maybe it's time for those people who have reached out in their support to speak up, especially if you have a platform.
Yeah, even if you don't speak up, make the right choice. That's what I'm saying. Because some of my colleagues are saying, I'm going to go there and check it out. Well, be careful. Because you can go there and bring some flowers to the picture of Sharaji and leave. You don't have to go there and expose yourself. Like someone was asking about my injury. I got injured by one of these fake certified teachers. And this person is, saying he's certified, and he's pretending to be certified because he's not.
And he's obviously right, and he is not certified material because
they
lose your authorization twice.
Imagine. So I don't know if Shruti was aware of this.
Right, and I could tell the quick story about Amma, Patabi Joyce's wife, and how much was on the line when she decided to go through her formal exam, public exam, I might add, where she was on a stage and being tested by Krishnamacharya in front of the whole community. Yeah, and she told me that if she failed, better luck next lifetime.
Next lifetime.
You got one. You got one chance. That's when I heard that story. When she told me that story, I got so excited. I was like, because I was new into this practice, you know, because Patabi Joyce was my first yoga teacher ever. First yoga class I ever walked into was in Mysore. I didn't even know what I was getting into. But when I heard that story, I was like, holy shit. I struck gold, because that is the kind of stakes I want. I want the high stakes kind of path, you know?
The narrow
When
path.
she said,
The narrow
well, next life, good, you know, better luck next life. Like
You
it
were
was
a
all the line.
skateboarder, though. So before he was a very active skateboarder without a helmet on. So he's kind of he likes the hard and dangerous.
Well, we want to believe that, you know, we are maybe doing a little bit of good karma for all of our bad karmas, you know.
Yeah.
And again, please, all the Indian colleagues and all the Indian community, please excuse us. We just feel a passion and a love and a respect for your culture. And we're here to say something very, very serious and fraudulent happened in the Sharat Yoga Center in last season. And it's most likely that it's going to happen again in the future if we don't stop it now. And we have not been afraid to speak in the name of someone we loved and respect, our gurus. So this is it. We are off. And if you want to write us, and if you want to communicate with us, and if you want to come live with us, we are here. But this is the last live that we're going to do together, because, you know, we don't want to keep repeating ourselves. And maybe this is a message to those of our colleagues that are so quiet and passive. You know, it's a time of protecting what we love, the transmission that we received. The new generations deserve it. And I really thank you. Part of this beautiful journey since I went there last February has been to meet you both. Thank you so much. You inspire me, both of you. I think you're true friends, because you know, when we fight for something and we believe in something and we take action and we're not afraid, for me that's friendship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
When we're ready to jump into the unpopular and be trolled and be like attacked by strangers and even by friends. Oh my
absolutely.
God. Yeah. It's because we're trying to protect something that is very valuable to us.
Right. Yes.
And from my perspective too, I feel like, you know, we're trying to protect India from the Westerners, and we're Westerners, and that's what that's our karma.
Maybe we were Indians, I think, in the past lives.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yes. I think
Patabi Joyce would say you would have to have done yoga for 10 lifetimes to end up in India studying with an intense form of yoga like Ashtanga. You know, you didn't just happen upon it. You have many lifetimes. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and we're Westerners now, and so I feel like that's our duty, is to call out the Westerners that are behaving badly.
Yes, we're calling the Westerners. Yeah.
That's our karma, and we know what you're doing. Everybody knows that you're playing pretend. It's all make believe. These certifications are just make believe. You know, that's all they are. You know, and we're going to support Saraswati, and we're going to do the right thing, because we do love Sharat and we do love India, even though we know that we will always be foreigners in India. We get that, we understand that, but we protect that and we respect that. And I did, though. I told Todd he had to tell this story. I hope I don't embarrass him. Can you just please tell everybody? You remember I said that he and Sharat were in the boys' club in the 90s because they were so young together. Can you please tell the Lungi story?
Oh, God, I can't believe you're asking me to tell that story.
Please tell that Lungi story. I'm sure Mariela's husband will love this story, too.
So,
let's just say you make a lasting impression on Sharat.
Yeah, all right. I'll tell this story, and then we'll get off. We'll close with this because it's sort of funny. So I decided after a while, you know, noticing all the Indian men wearing their lungis, that I decided, okay, I'm gonna go native. I'm gonna start wearing a lungi around. And, you know, being partly of Scottish descent, you know, under their kilts, they don't wear any underwear. And so I just thought, you know, I was gonna raw dog it and just wear my lungi out, you know. And so put my lungi on, and I'm walking by the Joyces, and I notice, oh, there's some people hanging out over there. It's in the evening, and so I walk up, and Sharat was like, "Oh, nice lungi," and he said, "Oh, but you didn't tie it. Let me show you how to tie it." And so before I could even say anything, he had grabbed my lungi and opened it up, and the masala dosa and the gulab jamuns were just right there. And he just quickly, without a word, he just quickly put it back on and showed me how to tie it. But he had realized his mistake, and I said,
Talk about Westerners putting a
I realized at that
Western-
moment, I was like, oh, I guess you normally wear underwear under these, and he just sort of gave me the bubble, but it was so funny. Oh my god, I learned my lesson so fast. So anyway, that's my lungi story.
Yeah, I know we had made a lot of mistakes, but we love India and we love Mysore, and we'll be back as soon as we can. And thank you all for joining, for listening, and we are here, the three of us. Please write us if you have any comment, if you need any, I don't know, support in making your decision, if you are being pressured, if you feel scared, if you think you're going to be canceled or bullied. That's not a way to live yoga. Yoga, we need to live like bold, like warriors. Yes.
Yeah.
It's very important.
You can't scare me. I practice Ashtanga yoga. Did you see what I did this morning? That was way scarier.
Right. Yeah. It gives you really thick skin and should make you brave. If practice is correct, attitude is correct, then something like this should be nothing. Yeah. It's in us. And
it was given by our teachers, so that's their merit. Totally.
No. Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
Christine.
love you, Mariela. Great to see you.
I love you too, my darlings. I hope to hug you soon in Mysore.
Absolutely. February. Yeah, we're planning on it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care, please.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.